Hello and welcome to our UC Berkeley virtual visit. We're so excited to have you joining us today for our tour, and we will get started. My name is Kara, and I'm going to be your moderator for today. I use the she, her, and hers pronouns, and I'm from Valencia, California, which is down in Southern California. I'm going into my senior year in the fall, and I'm studying Media Studies and Sociology. Outside of my academics, I'm involved in the UC Rally Committee, which is a spirit group here on campus. We fire a cannon when our team scores with flags. It's a very exciting time. I'm also involved in Greek life. I'm in a social sorority. I'm in the Business Careers and Entertainment Club, or BCEC for short. We bring in members of the entertainment industry to kind of talk to us about their lives and their career paths. I'm also a lifeguard on campus and have an off-campus internship at a wine PR company. That's a little bit about me, and now we'll get into some housekeeping about the tour today. This is going to be a 45-minute presentation, and you can type any and all the questions that you have into that Q&A function you see at the bottom of your screen. We'll also be launching polls throughout this presentation, so as you're learning a little bit about us, we can get to know a little bit about you. This is being recorded, and there will be other versions available on our website that you can check out after the tour. This will be a campus overview from the student perspective, so we do not have any admissions or financial aid information. Those are separate departments and separate presentations that we can direct you to if you are looking for more of that. And finally, we'll end this tour with a live Q&A with our presenters, and we'll do our best to answer all of the questions that you have. Just put them in that Q&A function on your screen. With that, I'll pass it off to our presenters for today.
Thanks, Kara, and hi everyone. My name is Mikayla. I use the She They series, and I'll be one of your guides for today. I am from a little city in Southern California called Arcadia, and I am currently a rising junior majoring in business administration, minoring in data science, and pursuing certificates in design innovation and management, entrepreneurship, and technology. And outside of academics and being an awesome campus ambassador, I sing and manage for a really cool a cappella group called Decadence. We wear some iconic gold capes, and traditionally when we're in person, we sing under the beautiful Sather Gate every Wednesday at noon. And then I'm also involved in the fall program for freshmen, so I would love to answer any questions that you have today.
Hi everybody, my name is Sara. I'll be the other guide for today. I use the she series of pronouns. I'm originally from San Diego, California, and I'm a rising junior here at Berkeley. My major is bioengineering, and I'm also getting a minor in computer science. And outside of being a campus ambassador in academics, like Kara, I'm involved with the UC Rally Committee. I'm actually in charge of the card stunts, which is where at football games we set up 12,500 packets of colored cards. It's where we hold them up to make patterns during halftime. I also do research on gene editing in Jennifer Doudna's lab. Jennifer Doudna recently won the Nobel Prize for CRISPR. In addition, I'm part of the Biomedical Engineering Society, which is a club for students in my major, and Tau Beta Pi, which is the Engineering Honor Society.
That's so cool that you do the card stunts. That's so iconic. So we want to kick it off with a warm welcome to Berkeley. You should see a poll popping up, just kind of asking who you are. And like Kara mentioned, there are going to be a couple of polls just kind of popping up to see where everyone's joining us from today, just so we can get a sense of who's with us and we can better cater the tour to you. And in the meantime, I'll talk about some of the things on this slide. So we'll start off with this center picture of this huge bear statue. This is Sturdy the bear. He's one of our 27 bear statues on campus, and they kind of come in all different shapes and sizes. So one thing that we really love when people are on campus is to encourage them to try to find all 27 bears. So if you ever are on campus, please do that. It's super fun. We also want to talk about this bottom left-hand picture that says 150W, and that's actually Berkeley's celebration of accepting women into Berkeley for 150 years. Berkeley started accepting women just 2 years after it was founded, so it's so awesome to see how progressive our campus is and has always been. And finally, at that top right corner that's a picture of our beautiful Memorial Glade and some students kind of hanging out on there. And Memorial Glade is this huge strip of lawn that's just surrounded by a bunch of libraries. It's a great place to just take a nap, read a book, or just hang out with friends. I know people play Frisbee on there and Quidditch, so there's always something happening there and it's super, super fun.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Mikayla was saying. I was hanging out with my friends on Memorial Glade yesterday. So here's just an overview of some of the key topics we're going to cover on this tour. We're going to start with an overview of Berkeley, some of the history about the school. Then we'll talk about academics, like how classes work here, then housing and dining, and health and safety. Later on, we'll go to student resources, student life. We'll talk about our athletics here at the school, then libraries and research, and finally, remote learning, how we handled the whole situation this past year with the pandemic. And while we're talking about this, make sure that you're asking questions in the Q&A. We're all live here, and in addition to me and Mikayla, there's also a bunch of campus ambassadors on the back end that are happy to answer your questions. So make sure you're sending those throughout the tour.
Yeah, and with that, let's get started with a little bit of history. So you may have heard UC Berkeley been called a lot of different names. You may have heard us being called Berkeley, Cal, #1 public university, or University of California. And that's because we were actually the first UC campus founded on March 23rd, 1868. We have our golden bears as our mascot, and that is a picture of Oski in the top left corner. You know, he's kind of a hot take. I feel like people have some controversial opinions about him, but I personally think he's really cool. And I tried to get a picture with him once in freshman year when he was hanging out with Calban, but he was just too popular. So it's my dream to get a picture with him one day when we're back on campus. And speaking of our campus size is pretty large. We have 31,000 undergraduate students and about 12,000 graduate students. So it is definitely a big campus, but it doesn't feel too overwhelming at all. And I think that it's so great that we have like such a diverse group of students on campus to kind of hear their stories and hear their voices. And finally, we have a lot of historical landmarks. You can see in that top right corner, that's a GIF of our beautiful Campanile. It's actually the third tallest clock and bell tower in the world, standing at 307 feet tall. And it's so cool that it's just sitting in the center of our campus for everyone to see. And then right below that is a picture of our beautiful Sather Gate, which is kind of this grand entrance where students kind of walk around. Totally unbiased, but a cappella groups love to perform there during lunchtime. But there's always something happening there. There's student organizations that are just handing out flyers or different protests going on. So there's always something to see, and it's super popular in pop culture as well. You may recognize it from Ant-Man and the Wasp or Pixar's Monsters University.
Yeah, so now you heard a bit about our campus history, I'll talk about campus culture. We've been around for a bit over 150 years, so we've had a lot of time to develop our own culture here at Berkeley. The word that our campus ambassadors like to use to describe the culture here at Berkeley is change makers, because everyone here is so passionate about what they're doing and also really passionate about just being involved in the community that we're the students who hopefully in the future will be the people making changes in the world. That started mostly for us with the free speech movement, which you can see in the picture on the upper right there, the black and white picture. That happened in the 60s. And before that, students were not allowed to advocate for political causes or really most of their beliefs on campus. But you know, in the 60s, that was kind of a time of political turmoil. So students really wanted to talk about what they believed in. So we had a movement on campus led by Mario Savio, which eventually convinced the administration to allow students to talk about what they believe on campus. So now at Berkeley and also other universities, you can see students in the center of campus talking about their political beliefs or about environmental movements or just about the clubs that they're in, handing out flyers to students all day long. We're also really involved in leadership. There's tons of opportunities in clubs here and through internships to be a leader, a student leader, and just challenge the status quo of how things are going on in the world. We really believe that the status quo is not how it has to be in the future, and we can make a change. Berkeley is also a leadership in entrepreneurship, a leader in entrepreneurship. We have lots of famous alumni that have gone on to found companies. One famous one you might have heard of is Steve Wozniak, the founder of Apple. He went to Berkeley as a student, and we're leaders in research and innovation. As a research university, a lot of our faculty are involved in super cool stuff. And then in the community, as I was saying before, a lot of students are involved in social justice. You can see people tabling on Sproul Plaza about causes they believe in. We have a lot of school spirit on campus too. I'm involved in that as part of the UC Rally Committee. You can see that in the lower right picture there, the people with the striped shirts. So go Bears. I would highly recommend getting involved in our campus spirit. If you do decide to apply and come to Berkeley, it's a really fun part of our campus culture. We're also super focused on having a diverse atmosphere. We really believe that being super diverse is something that makes us stronger, and just incorporating all the diverse viewpoints of our student body. And public service as well. We have a lot of different public service organizations on campus. One of them, a couple of my friends have participated in, is the Berkeley Project, where a student group leads a community effort for the year.
Yeah, that was so well said, Sarah. And these pictures just kind of highlight everything that Sarah was talking about and seeing it in action. So starting on that left-hand side, you can see the Mario Savio steps. And at that top left picture, you'll see a picture of students actually protesting and voicing their opinions. And while protests are really popular on campus, you definitely don't have to participate in it if you don't feel comfortable. But you can definitely participate in things that you feel passionate about, and it's nice to know that students on campus have that ability to voice their opinions, like Sarah mentioned. And then you can also kind of see that duality of passion kind of going into that passion for our campus itself and our school spirit. At that picture on the bottom left, that's a picture of our Cal band and cheer squad on those same Mario Savio steps, performing at one of our noon pep rallies. So it's always great to see that spirit that Sarah mentioned as well, kind of like shining through right before a big football game. And again, like Sarah mentioned, on the top right corner, that's a picture of our Cal Rally Committee, which Sarah and Kara are a part of. They wear some really awesome rugby tees, and they're taking a picture with Oski, so I'm just doubly jealous of them right now. And then right in that center, we are, again, a hub of research and innovation. So you'll see a lot of cool projects like that one on the center bottom picture. I think Sarah could probably talk more about this as an engineering major than I could, but there are definitely a lot of cool projects just like that going on all around campus. So it's always so great to just walk around and see what's happening.
Yep, so to continue on that path, we are really focused on education. Especially during the pandemic, we've been really focused on the accessibility and scalability of education. So we had a program called the Student Tech Program, where we distributed laptops and Wi-Fi hotspots and other just equipment that you would need to continue your education during the pandemic. And we also had some remote youth programs because it's important to keep younger students engaged so that you don't lose a year of education despite the pandemic. We've also, as the university, been involved in COVID research. The Doudna Lab and the Innovative Genomics Institute were trialing a saliva test for COVID-19 here. And I know some of my friends were involved in that study. So they would go and they would give samples of their saliva and their blood to just be a part of testing this new technology to see if the new test would work. Also during the pandemic, we've been focused on advocacy and social justice, making sure that in our campus community and then spreading that to the community as a whole, we're focused on human rights and anti-racism and preventing trauma and burnout during the pandemic.
Yeah, and next we'll kind of be transitioning into the academics, and you'll see another poll popping up asking what you're interested in. And this is multiple choice because, people have a lot of different interests, so feel free to pick as many as you'd like. And I'll be introducing a couple, or all of our undergraduate colleges. We have 5 of them covering a wide variety of topics. And I wanted to point out the idea of transferring between colleges versus applying directly. So for those first 3 colleges you see on the screen, the College of Letters and Science, Rouser College of Natural Resources, and College of Environmental Design, it's fairly easy to transfer between these 3 if you're still undecided or don't know what you want to major in just yet. But if you are interested in majoring in something chemistry related or going into the College of Engineering, we highly recommend that you apply directly just because these are slightly more competitive colleges and have different requirements. So it's much easier to just apply directly. That's not to say that it's impossible to transfer in, but we do just recommend you apply if you're interested.
Yep, so now we're going to start going into more detail about our 5 undergraduate colleges. The first one that we're going to talk about here is the College of Letters and Science, and this is definitely our biggest undergraduate college. Your major, if it's not chemistry or engineering, probably you can find it somewhere in here, and it houses 3/4 of our undergraduate population. There's 5 divisions of majors in this college. We have the arts and humanities in here, social biological sciences, math and physical sciences, social sciences, and undergraduate studies. Over 80 majors, like I was saying before. There's a ton of different things in this college, so I'm sure you can find something here that you're interested in. It's housed in Dwinell Hall, which you can see in the lower right side of your screen here, and we call that the freshman maze because it's built on a hill, so sometimes the floors don't quite line up, and there's 4 floors on one half of the building and 5 floors on the other one. So we always joke that if you know how to find your way around Dwinell, it's time for you to graduate. But as freshmen, don't worry if you get lost in there because everybody is lost in there. Another fun fact about this college is 17 out of our 25 Nobel Prizes that we've won at the university have been by faculty in the College of Letters and Sciences.
Yeah, my home college was the College of Letters and Sciences for 2 years, so it's always been a maze trying to go through Dwinell. I definitely got lost a couple of times, not gonna lie, but it's definitely part of that college experience, I would say. And next, we'll talk about the Rausser College of Natural Resources. And this also covers a wide variety of topics, but has more of an environmental focus. And you'll see the 6 disciplines that are covered right below on your screen. And I think it's so interesting because like my roommate is actually a molecular environmental biology major. And then I have a friend who's an environmental economics and policy major, and both are under this college. So you can really see how many topics are covered within this college. And it's so awesome that they have this emphasis on sustainability and social justice. Something else that I love about this college is that a lot of their classes include a field study component. So I know some classes like to go camping or get outside and like go explore different places. And I think that's so cool. You can kind of see an example of this on the top left-hand picture. Those are some students cleaning up Strawberry Creek, which is this little creek that runs throughout campus. It's so cool. It's used as kind of a living laboratory for students in this college. So it's really cool to see them kind of getting in action and still learning in the process. And I feel like all of this talk of sustainability and social justice is so prevalent, especially today. And I think it really ties into their motto, which is see the bigger picture and make a better world.
All right, the third college we're going to talk about is the College of Environmental Design. And this is our smallest college with about 650 students in it, and it only has 4 majors: architecture, landscape architecture, urban studies, and sustainable environmental design. And this is kind of reflected in their home building, which you can see on the GIF at the lower right of your screen there. That's Bauer-Wurster Hall, the home of the College of Environmental Design, and it's built to be energy efficient, so the window shades are angled in a certain way that lets sun in during the winter to help heat the building without using energy, and blocks it during the summer to try to keep things cool. And I think that's also reflected in their model of ecologically sustainable and resilient, prosperous and fair, healthy and beautifully built environments.
Yeah, and next up, we'll be talking about our College of Chemistry, which is also a fairly small college with about 1,000 students and just 3 majors, which are chemistry, chemical engineering, and chemical biology. It's important to note that if you're interested in chemical engineering, you would be applying to the College of Chemistry and not the College of Engineering. So that's just something to point out. And it's also really cool that chemistry is ranked #1 globally. So you're taking classes with like world-renowned professors, which is so, so awesome. And chemistry is also a huge college of innovation and research. 16 elements were actually discovered on campus, including berkelium and californium, which you might recognize, Berkeley berkelium. And also the Lewis dot structure was also invented here by one of our professors, Gilbert Lewis, while teaching a Chem 1A class. He did this to actually help students just learn the material better. And I admittedly have not taken a chemistry class since high school, but I remember in high school we learned about the Lewis dot structure. So it's just so awesome to see that something so monumental was invented on our campus.
Yeah, I took introductory chemistry here because I needed to take a few chemistry for my bioengineering classes, and I definitely did use the Lewis dot structure in those classes. Finally, we'll talk about our College of Engineering, and this is my home college as a bioengineering major, but there's also some other like pretty typical engineering majors that what you would think are, this is where our electrical engineering and computer science major is, also mechanical engineering and material science and engineering, and a couple more that you can find on the website if you're interested. For this one, make sure that you apply directly into the College of Engineering because it does have different requirements from the other ones. But even though it is a technical college and you will have very good education within your major, you do also take some breadth classes for like humanities and social science. So for me, even though I'm a bioengineering major, I got to take a college on wealth and poverty and like the income disparity in the United States and how that's grown over the past couple years, just as like a breadth requirement. Even though it's not really related to BioE, I learned a ton through that class, and I'm so glad I got the opportunity to take that. And if you're interested in learning a bit more about our College of Engineering, we do have a separate virtual engineering visit, which you can register for at the same place that you registered for this tour today.
Yeah, and with that, we'll wrap up the undergraduate colleges and move into our graduate schools. So we actually have 9 graduate schools that you can see listed on this slide. And you'll notice that engineering is not considered a graduate school, but it does offer a couple of graduate programs. And like engineering, a lot of undergraduate departments do offer graduate programs. So if you're interested in pursuing some sort of master's, you can definitely check those out. And I also wanted to point out that the Haas School of Business is a graduate school, but it does offer an undergraduate program, which is business administration, which I'm a part of. And how this works is if you are interested in getting a degree in business administration, you can apply in the sophomore year or the fall semester of your sophomore year. And if you are accepted after taking all the prerequisites for the major, you can get accepted in your spring semester of sophomore year. And then for your remaining 2 years, you'll be pursuing a degree in business administration, and you'll graduate with a bachelor's of science in business administration. And if you want to get involved but don't want to apply in your sophomore year, there are also a couple of different options. You can choose to apply as an incoming freshman to the Global Management Program. And this is a program that allows you to study abroad in your first semester of freshman year. You actually go to London, you study about international business. So this is a really great opportunity if you're interested in that. And there are also a couple of dual degree programs. So if you're on a biology track or an engineering track, you can check out our biology and business dual degree program or our management and entrepreneurship and technology dual degree program. So these are all great options and a great way to add on business if that's something that you're interested in.
And next, let's talk about our structure and class sizes for academics. So most of our classes here at Berkeley are organized into a lecture and a discussion. So for lecture, you'll have a professor that will teach you either like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, depending on the class. That'll usually be in a large setting to the whole class with like professors teaching with a PowerPoint or on a chalkboard, something probably similar to what your high school teachers are doing. But then after that, you'll have a discussion section with a graduate student instructor. We call them GSIs. And those typically are a lot smaller, and you do more interactive stuff. So you can have quizzes there or like practice problems or just ask questions for more clarification. So don't worry about having large class sizes. For me, I had in my first semester freshman year, I took Intro to Computer Science, and there were 2,000 people in that class. But even though the lecture was huge, my discussion section was only 25 people. So I still had that like small classroom environment where I could get all the questions that I had answered about the material and not worry about, all the people in the lecture. Same thing for office hours. All professors and all GSIs are required to have office hours, and really take advantage of these. Not as many students go as should go, in my opinion. Also for that same like giant computer science class that I was in, I went to my professor's office hours almost every week because I need a lot of help in that class. So I was always in office hours, but there were never more than 10 people in the office hours, even though the class had like 2,000. So it's a great resource. And by the end of the semester, I really got to know my professor, and he was able to help me out with a project fair project that I was working on for that class. Overall, we have a 19-to-1 student to faculty ratio, and 81% of our classes do have fewer than 50 students. So the larger ones tend to be like your lower division general education requirements, but then as you get more specific and more into your major classes, the classes will get a lot smaller. And we do have some hands-on labs and studio classes. For me, I've taken chemistry labs because I'm a bioengineering major, and those are like also about the same size as the discussion section. So like 30 students, and you get to do hands-on like making chemicals and looking through microscopes, the kind of stuff that you would normally do in a lab. And we also have a lot of resources if you decide you need some extra help in classes. One that's really popular is the Student Learning Center. I use that. You can go into the Student Learning Center and they have review sessions for tests, but they also have tutoring by students who took the class that you're in before and did well in it. So if you need help in a math class or you want somebody to do a read over of your essay before you submit it, the Student Learning Center is a really good place to get that help. We also have individual advising available through your college or your major. So there's plenty of ways to get help in academics.
Yeah, I would definitely also +1 to going to office hours. I took that same computer science class and I also needed a lot of help. So it was always great to just go in and like pick the professor's brain. So highly recommend. And we'll kind of keep going with this academic structure and talk about remote learning, which we hopefully will not have to experience too much of in the following year, but we love to recap on how this past year went. So over the fall and spring semester, we were fully remote with some hybridization goals towards the end in accordance with CDC guidelines. And to kind of ease the academic experience and maximize students' learning experiences while at home, Berkeley gave every student access to a Zoom Pro account. And I think the biggest thing about this was every student had access to unlimited meeting minutes, which was really, really great if you wanted to do like a long study session, or if you wanted to like attend webinars, they could go over like an hour, which was really, really awesome. And then also Berkeley had options for synchronous and asynchronous learning for students who may not have been in the Pacific time zone, which was really nice. And it was also really nice for me, even though I am in the Pacific time zone, it was nice to kind of roll out of bed at 8 a.m., but not have to go to like an 8 a.m. class. And how synchronous and asynchronous learning works is that some lectures were still held like on certain days at certain times, but there were also some lectures that were just completely recorded in advance and just posted. So it was nice for students to have access to both in case. And then there were also a lot of online resources or just in-person resources that transformed into an online setting, like virtual drop-in tutoring from the Student Learning Center that Sarah kind of talked about. They offered a lot of webinars that had like review sessions and other one-on-one tutoring sessions. So that was really helpful. Saved me from a lot of economics courses. So highly recommend checking those out. I think some of them may still be online in the following semesters. And then just in general, there was a lot of instructional resilience through semester in the cloud, which really covers all of the things that I just talked about and just offered a lot of resilience and support for students while they were learning at home.
Yeah, I'm so excited that we did a good job with the online school, but I'm so excited to be back in person this coming year. Now I'll talk about housing and dining. So housing, if you're an incoming freshman, most of our freshmen live on campus. I think about 97% of freshmen live in the residence halls their first year, and about 30% of transfers the first year that they come to Berkeley as a transfer. So for freshmen, there's a couple different options. We do have your typical like dorm style housing. We have singles, doubles, and triples available in our various units and residential campuses. We do also have, if you don't want to live in a typical dorm style, we have suites, where suites are like you have 2 or 3 rooms that are together and they share a bathroom instead of a regular dorm where you have a bunch of rooms together and there's like one bathroom at the end of the hall. Freshmen do get priority for housing, but you have to make sure that you put any room, any location as the 5th choice on your housing application. So when you're submitting, you'll put like 1 through 4 of wherever you want to live, but then make sure you have any room or any location as your 5th choice. And then in the residence halls, we do have some resources available for students. All residence halls will have a resident assistant, which is an older student who's there to make sure that everybody's doing well. They do periodic check-ins on students to make sure that everyone's doing well. Make sure that like if somebody needs help in the dorm, that's the person who's there. If you're locked out of your room, you'll call your RA. That happened to me one time. I forgot my keys in my room and I left to go to class and I came back and my roommate was still in class. So I had to call my RA to let me back in my room. We also have theme programs available. So if you want to live with other people who share an identity group or a belief with you, you can apply for that on the housing application as well. And then the dorms, in addition to having just rooms for students, they'll have common areas like study lounges. I definitely spent a lot of time in my dorm study lounge my freshman year, and usually common like laundry and like play spaces, I guess. My floor had a pool table on it, and I had a lot of fun at the pool table there. Also in our dining, we have a meal plan included. So the basic plan is the blue plan that'll give you 12 swipes a week at the dining hall, and then also some extra, we call them flex dollars, that you can spend at the dining hall, at different restaurants on campus, or we have some like convenience stores attached to the dining halls that you can go there and buy like ice cream or whatever with your flex dollars. And during COVID-19, we did have some students living in the residence halls. We did take precautions to make sure that everyone was safe. Last year, all the rooms were single rooms, so nobody had a roommate, just to make sure that things weren't spread. You had to wear face masks in common areas in the dorm. And we also had social pods of about 8 students that lived together that were allowed to interact with each other.
The fact that you had a pool table on your floor makes me so jealous right now, but that is totally okay. We also had a rec room. I think every dorm has a little rec room, which is super, super fun. You can like interact with all your friends, so always a good time. And now we'll continue on to transfer and continuing student housing. So there are some on-campus housing options as well. They're less dorm style and more like townhouse and apartment style that you can check out on the housing website. We also have our international house that I've heard has amazing food, but I have yet to try. And this is open to not just international students, but all students. And then we also have other affiliated properties kind of around the city and not as close to campus, but still readily available to students. And then if you're looking for a more adulting style housing, you can also go to off-campus apartments, which is what I opted to do with my roommate. And that's just kind of like cruising around campus and like looking for places or going online and looking for places. So that's a great experience as well if you're interested. And you can also opt to do co-op housing. And this is kind of like off-campus housing. It's not really affiliated with the campus, but you do get like reduced rent in place of doing some chores, and it's kind of like a huge, like a bigger home, sort of like a dorm style thing, but not really like campus affiliated. And then you can also join Greek housing if you are part of Greek life, which 12% of our students are. And finally, off-campus or continuing student housing doesn't come with a meal plan like the freshman housing does, but you can opt to buy a meal plan if you don't really want to cook every day. I think I'm going to go for a couple of flex dollars so that I can buy stuff on campus and not have to make a meal every night. But that's definitely an option if you do want to get some meals on campus or access the restaurants or dining halls. And again, you can check out our housing website at housing.berkeley.edu for more information on all the different housing options that are available.
Right now, talking about our university health services, which has been more in everybody's mind this past year just because of what's going on in the world. We do have health services here on campus. We have urgent care and primary care and physical therapy offered through the Tank Center. And all students on campus are required to have insurance. So you can come in if you're like on your parents' plan or whatever, you can keep that, or you can use the UC's plan, the SHIP student health insurance plan, and that'll cover all of the different health services that we have on campus. Also this past year, we've been really involved in COVID testing and contact tracing. So I lived in one of the on-campus apartments last year and I had to get tested twice a week. But that really made me feel safe because I knew that I was getting tested twice a week and everybody else around me was getting tested twice a week. So if anybody did test positive, like we would know about it and they would get the help that they needed. And then everyone who was in contact with them would get quarantined. Also, in addition to physical health, we do have resources for mental health. We have psychological counseling available on campus. We have some resources for like sexual assault or violence. We have the path to care for that. If that's unfortunately something that you had to deal with, then we have resources available for you. We also have eye center for the optometry eye center. And I've spent a lot of time in there because I'm actually involved in a study there. So I go and they pay me to watch slightly blurry and slightly blue tinted nature documentaries and then take measurements of my eyes. It's super great. I really love the optometry center. And then when we're in person, we have resources for stress relief as well, like Pause for Mental Health, which is where they bring dogs on campus that you can come and pet like between classes and stuff. And also we have Llama Palooza during finals week, which is where we bring llamas to the main quad and students swarm to meet them. They're super cool. I got to see them my freshman year. I'd never seen a llama before, but it was a really cool opportunity.
Yeah, two things. I love the Optometry Eye Center. It's actually located in Minor Hall and it's run by like graduate students, which is super awesome. And also Llama-palooza is so iconic. I was also there my freshman year and I got to kiss a llama, which is like just a first for me. I'm sure it's a first for a lot of people, but it was really, really awesome. So definitely recommend you check it out if you're in the area. And next we'll move on to general campus safety services. So we'll start off with our UCPD or our UC Police Department, which you can see on the top left. They kind of cruise around campus and make sure that all students are safe. And then we also have blue light poles, which you can see on the bottom left picture. These are just really tall poles with a little blue light on the top. You can see them anywhere on campus. And if you are feeling unsafe at any point, you can walk up to one and you can push the little button there, or you can call 911 and emergency dispatch will be sent to you instantly. So you can definitely be rest assured that you'll be safe. And we also have a Warn Me system, which is a text and email system that anyone can sign up for, students and parents alike. And this really just warns students of any imminent threats to health or safety, which is really, really helpful. Especially, I remember in freshman year, there were like some fires that were happening around Alameda County. So it was nice to know when there were like a lot of smoke or things were getting canceled, if there were like power outages. So it's always great to like keep that in mind and stay safe. And we also have a 3-point security system in our residence halls to keep our freshmen safe specifically. And these are at the main doors, in the elevators, and then the key to your door. So there are a lot of ways to just make sure that there's always security there and that you can feel safe. And then we also have some night services like our night safety shuttle, and you can see that at the bottom right corner. It's our Bear Transit system, and it operates like all throughout the night, and it goes around the perimeter of campus. So if you're like out late at night and you just want to ride back and you don't want to walk, you can definitely use that. I remember in my freshman year, I would always like scurry down to the south side because there was a lot of food over there. And I was living in like the north side of campus, so my roommate and I would just kind of run down there, but it would get really late at night because we were just like eating a lot and just like hanging out. So we would just take the safety shuttle back, and it was really helpful. But if you don't want to take the shuttle back, you can also use our Bear Walk feature, which runs from dusk to 3 a.m. And this is basically, you can just use their like website, and a Bear Walk student employee will actually come walk with you to wherever you need to go. And I've never had to use this feature, but I've heard that Bear Walk employees are really great conversationalists. So, you know, if you just want a friend to like walk you home or something, definitely use this feature.
Yeah, for sure. My roommate works for Bear Walk, and she could totally talk your ear off for the entire walk home. They're super friendly, and don't be afraid to call them. Okay, so now I'll talk about some resources for student development. We have a bunch of resources for student development available in our Cesar Chavez Hall, which you can see on the top right there. We have a bunch of different resources available for different like identity and community groups. So we have like Transfer Student Center, we have a Center for Undocumented Students, we have a Disabled Students Program and a Basic Needs Center. So if you're feeling unrepresented or if you feel like you need some extra help, there definitely would be a resource available for you here on campus for any identity or community group.
Yeah, and next we'll kind of transition into student life. So we have over 1,000 registered student organizations. So like the majors, there's really something for everyone here. Whatever you're passionate about, you can pursue. And if there's not a student organization that like fits your interest exactly, if there's something like really niche, you can actually make your own org. If you just have you and 4 friends who are interested in something, just start it up. And there are also a lot of volunteering opportunities. Like Sarah mentioned, there's a couple of like groups that hold big projects throughout the year, like Berkeley projects, and that's a really great way to get involved in public service if you're interested. And there's also a lot of opportunities for campus employment. Sarah and I are campus ambassadors, so we get paid to do this, which is really cool. We just get to talk about our school, which is just so awesome. But there are also a lot of different ways to get involved and get paid at the same time. So you can check that out through our career center. And then also because we're like kind of in the Silicon Valley, super close to San Francisco, we have a lot of internship opportunities as well. So that's something that a lot of students get involved with, which you can also do if you're interested. And then we also have study abroad opportunities. So if you're interested in going out of the country or getting to experience a whole new lifestyle, you can check those out. There are a lot of different programs that are offered throughout like semesters or year-long programs. And there are also internship abroad opportunities, which I'm hoping to pursue next year. So we'll keep you posted on that, but that's also a great resource if you're interested. And then if you're not really interested in going too far, you kind of want to stay local, there's still so much to do just in the Bay Area alone. Every student is given access to an AC transit card, which gives you access to all of the transits in the area. And you can also access our Bay Area transportation system, which is like a big subway. And that just takes you like straight to San Francisco. So there's a lot of ways to kind of explore Berkeley, but also explore all of the surrounding areas. So I promise you'll never get bored.
Yeah, so now we'll talk about our athletics here on campus. As part of the rally committee, I'm super excited about athletics all the time. I'm always at football games and basketball games and gymnastics meets. You can see me there all the time. We have 3 different levels of competition for our Berkeley athletics program. The top one is just Division I athletics. We're part of the Pac-12 schools. So for football and similar sports, we'll compete against other schools on generally the West Coast. For those, we do have some scholarships available, and you would be recruited as an athlete into the university if you wanted to compete at the Division I level. But if you don't want to go at the highest level, we do have a middle option available, which is club sports. This is usually for people who have played sports in high school and like know what they're doing, but don't want to like put in all the time to be a Division I athlete. I know somebody who's on our club water polo team and really has fun being a part of that. And then lastly, we have our intramural and rec sports. And this is if you want to hang out with your friends, maybe learn a new sport, something that you haven't done before, but just want to like chill outside, then you should join an intramural or a rec team. California Memorial Stadium is the home of our football team, and other large events like graduation is held in there. You can see a picture of that on the top left of your screen there. A super fun place. I really recommend going to sports, just be part of the school spirit here at Cal. And then Haas Pavilion is the home of our basketball team, basketball, volleyball, and gymnastics teams all compete in Haas Pavilion. And we do have a recreational sports facility. Students call this RSF. That's where even if you're not part of a sports team, you can still go to exercise. We have a pool that you can go in there. We have a gym. It's a really nice place. We have classes like, I know a bunch of my friends are interested in the cardio dance class. So they go and just dance to work out at RSF with a bunch of other friends. A really fun thing to do. And this slide should say that we have 208 Olympic medals because Cal actually won another medal last night in the women's 400-meter freestyle relay. So we have 56 athletes at the Tokyo Olympics this year. So I expect throughout these next 2 weeks, that number is going to keep going up.
Yes, for sure. And we have 16 representing Team USA, so a huge congratulations and a big go Bears, and good luck to all of our Golden Bears at Tokyo right now. And next, we'll transition into our remote resources and how we still built a community despite all being online. So we had an emphasis on a lot of social media networks. I think Berkeley is the proud founder of the UC Berkeley Memes for EduTeens page, which is like one of the original Facebook meme pages, I think, which is super iconic. Glad to know we're really progressive on social media as well. And we also had a lot of student groups and clubs kind of transition into that online platform. So there were a lot of social hours and different like events that were held online rather than in person to keep everyone safe and connected. And there were a lot of online adaptations. In my a cappella group, for example, we transitioned from doing like in-person performances to actually recording stuff online and making different videos. So I actually got to experience like Adobe suites and using like different Adobe applications and like learning how to mix music and make videos and stuff. So that was so awesome. I don't think I would have gotten that opportunity when I was in person. So really, really cool to see how everyone was kind of adapting to this online platform. And then there were also a lot of department webinars for professional and personal development opportunities. I know there were like different resume building and like interview type advice webinars that were available to students so that you could still kind of get that practice while you were at home. And there were also a lot of guest lectures. One that we like to note was Dr. Anthony Fauci. It's really cool that he got to speak to us, especially during such a prevalent time. And there were also a couple of pretty iconic people who came to lecture us. I think Dylan O'Brien was one of them. And then also Grammy Award winning artist Jacob Collier came to speak for a music class about like music production. So that was really awesome. And then finally, we also had our Golden Bear orientation transition to fully remote. And this is an orientation for our incoming freshmen. So it was nice to see that they still got that chance to get that advising preparation and networking going before they actually stepped foot on campus.
Yep, so now we're going to talk about the campus libraries. We have a ton of libraries here on campus. We have 24 official libraries and over 13 million volumes of books. So there's a ton of books here, but if for some reason you can't find the book that you want here, we do have a system where if it's not here, but it's at a different UC, you can request it and it'll get shipped to you here in Berkeley. We also have extensive online resources available for books. I've used the online resources a lot for one of my classes. I couldn't find the textbook that I wanted. And it was really expensive to buy it, but I didn't want to do that. So instead, I just went to our online catalog and I got a free PDF version of the textbook, and I was able to complete all my assignments for that class, no problem. We also have a lot of research on campus. I'm personally involved in this, so I love doing research. I highly recommend getting involved in research. One of the more popular ways to get involved in research is the Undergraduate Research Apprenticeship Program, or URAP. And for this, they release a list of projects where professors or grad students decide that they need some extra help on their projects. At the beginning of the semester, they'll release a huge list of them, and you can apply to up to 3 of them by submitting like a resume, and some of them will get back to you and you can interview and then be involved in that project for the semester. One of my closest friends is involved in a material science project. She's been with the same professor for 3 semesters, I think, actually maybe 4 semesters now doing the same project, and she really appreciates the research experience that she can get through that. But that's not the only way to get research. The various departments have opportunities for research. I know the engineering school has their own website called Beehive, where you can get engineering research, or just email professors or talk to them in office hours and get involved in their projects.
Yeah, I will say that a friend of mine actually just like got really close with her professor and went to all of his office hours, and then he actually offered her just like a research opportunity. So definitely like a good way to get involved is just like reach out and something good might happen. And next we'll talk about some of our famous alumni and professors. As we mentioned before, we have some world-renowned faculty here and also some really awesome alumni. Some that I want to point out is Jennifer Doudna, which Sarah mentioned, won the 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for her genome editing using CRISPR technologies. So a huge congratulations to her. Also, Beverly Cleary, you might recognize her from the Ramona and Beezus Quimby books. She's super iconic. I remember reading those when I was a little kid, so it's so cool to see that she graduated from Berkeley. And Sarah also mentioned Steve Wozniak, who is the co-founder of Apple. It's so cool to see that he also graduated from Berkeley. Also, Stephen Shu won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1997 for developments to cool and trap atoms with laser light, excuse me. So it's so cool to see that we have so many just amazing people who went to Berkeley or are teaching at Berkeley, and who knows, you might be on this list one day.
Yeah, and then some more campus highlights, less about the campus itself, but more about the surrounding area. Berkeley's in a really cool location where we're in a city, so you have that whole like urban vibe. We're of course in the city of Berkeley, but we're also close to Oakland and San Francisco, where you can do a lot of like city things or like tourist attractions are all within reach here at Berkeley. But we do also have nature behind campus is the Berkeley Hills. You'll regularly see like wild turkeys and deer walking around on campus. We have a very vibrant population of squirrels. And we do have a lab on campus, like specifically researching how squirrels like bury their nuts and then find where they're buried afterwards. We do have hiking available near campus. There's a fire trail, so you can hike up to the Big C as well, which is a big concrete sea behind campus that has a beautiful panoramic view of the Bay Area. And then just on campus, we have some like the oldest eucalyptus, or some, not sorry, not the oldest, some of the tallest eucalyptus trees in the state, and just lovely wildlife that you can experience when you want the break from the city environment.
Thank you both so much for that incredible tour. We're gonna head into our live Q&A session now because you are both such incredible guides. They have lots of questions for you. So this question from the audience is for Sara. How easy is it to do research as an undergraduate?
Doing research as an undergraduate is super doable, and I really recommend doing it. I think like 80% or something around there of our students do at some point in their undergraduate career get involved in research. And it's not just biology research or sciences or engineering. You can also do research in the humanities. You can help curate a museum. You can like do research to write papers in the humanities. I know some of my friends are doing research in English, like reading different old books and then it's like translating them or summarizing them for a younger audience. So as I mentioned before, one of the easiest way to get involved in research is through our undergraduate research apprenticeship program, or URAP, where they release all those projects that are available and then you just submit an application through there. Another way is just to talk to your professors. You can go through office hours or just send them an email and say like, hey, I've read some of your papers, or I'm really interested in what we were talking about in class today. Do you have any spaces in your lab, or do you know someone that can help me get some more experience in this research area? That definitely works. I know people who have done that and it's worked out for them. Also, a way to get involved in research is at the beginning of the semester, generally clubs will have tables on Sproul and they'll have like, hey, if you're interested in our club, you can put your email here and sign up for our email list. So if you do that, then you get emails from all these clubs, and a lot of clubs send out opportunities that they know of to their email list or to their group chat or stuff like that. That's how I got my position. Somebody who worked in the lab knew that like my current boss was looking for an undergrad, so they posted in our club group chat like, hey, there's an open spot. If you have this, if you know how to do this and you have these qualifications, just email this professor and then you can do an interview for a project. So there's lots of ways to do it, and it's a great way to supplement your application. So definitely go for it if you're interested in research.
Thank you so much. I think that's on my bucket list to do for my final year here is to get involved in research in some way, shape, or form. Our next question from the audience is for Mikayla. As an undergraduate student, what are the pros and cons of attending the Haas School of Business?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I have a lot of good things to say about Haas, so I won't be talking about too many of the cons, but to start, I think that Haas is a really, really great way to start networking. I know a lot of people who get involved in a lot of internship opportunities, and Haas does a really great way of just like giving a lot of support to its students. There's like a smaller network within the Haas community that gives a lot of like different internship opportunities or networking opportunities. I know like I'm signed up for like a newsletter that gives us like opportunities to attend like different webinars for like resume building, and these are like specific to Haas students. So it's definitely a smaller community that is like a lot closer and like tight knit, like a lot of colleges are. So it's really a great way to get involved. One thing that I will say is it's just competitive to kind of get in. Usually Haas accepts about 1/3 of the undergraduate students who apply, like who are already at Berkeley. So I will say it's not always the easiest to get in, but it's definitely okay if you don't. I know a lot of people who don't get in still are able to attend or apply to the economics major or a lot of different majors that are very closely related, and they still get a lot of great like internship opportunities or networking resources. So it's definitely not the end of the world if you don't get in. I think there's still a lot of really great ways to get involved on campus, even if you're not in Haas. But I still will say that Haas does provide a lot of great opportunities to connect with like graduate faculty and a lot of other really great resources.
Thank you so much. I'm not in the Haas School of Business, but I did take a personal finance class through the Haas School of Business. So you can still take some of those like seminar classes as well if you're just looking to dip your toes into the business world. Our next question is for Sara. Does UC Berkeley have a lot of school spirit?
Yes, we do. Go Bears. Berkeley has a lot of school spirit. I'm involved in school spirit through the rally committee, which I'm in with Kara. We have a lot of fun going to football games and basketball games and hosting rallies, like hanging out with Cal Band and Oski, our mascot, and just generally cheering on the university. So I love being a part of school spirit, and it was part of the reason why I came here is because we had a football team that we could cheer on. So I love school spirit here at Berkeley.
If you are passing someone who's wearing like a Cal shirt, you have to say "Go Bears" to them. It's the rules, you know. We don't make them, we just implement them. Our next question is for Mikayla. Since the campus is sectioned into different specialized colleges, do you really only interact with the students who are also within your college, or do you get to interact with students from all of the colleges?
Not at all. You get to interact with every student on campus if you want to. I think one great example is Sarah and I both mentioned that we took a computer science class, like Intro to Computer Science. And that class, like Sarah mentioned, has like 2,000 students. So there are students from all different majors. It's like a really general, like prerequisite class. So it's just huge. There are like students that are taking business administration or like economics, and there are also students in like the College of Engineering. And there are a couple of classes that are kind of like that have just a huge pool of students from all different majors that are kind of interacting. And my favorite thing was that like when I was in person, also took a intro to data science class, and I got to just sit down and meet like a new person every day in my lecture. So it was so fun to just like sit down, say hi, and make a new friend, and then just kind of like hear their story and why they came to Berkeley and what they're passionate about. So you definitely get that chance to interact with a bunch of different students. And this doesn't just go for like huge classes. There are also like small classes that a lot of different students take just because they're interested in it or they just wanted to try something new. So yeah, you definitely get to meet a lot of different people, and not just in classes, but like through clubs and organizations and just events that you go to on campus.
Thank you. That was a great overview of everything. Our next question is for Sara. How can I get a good balance of academic and social life at Berkeley?
Yeah, it's really important to have a balance of academic and social life here at Berkeley. If you spend all your time studying, it's just not going to be as good of a time. I feel like you aren't fully taking advantage of your college experience. So I think a way to get that kind of balance is to get involved in extracurriculars. So I talked earlier about getting involved in research. That's a really popular extracurricular. You could also be involved in like getting a part-time job or campus employment. All of us here as campus ambassadors, this is our job here. We're working outside of school as a campus job, but you could also work in the libraries, or you can work as one of the Bear Walk safety officers, like we mentioned earlier. You can work in the dining halls or as a resident assistant. There's a ton of different ways to work on campus. And then also, you should get involved in some student groups. We have over 1,000 registered student orgs of all different types. We have purely social ones, like the rally committee that I'm in. I'm in that just to have fun. It's super great to be involved in Cal Spirit. You can be involved in a sorority or a fraternity as well. Like Greek life is a great way to have a good time in college. We do have, in addition, more professional type student clubs. I was involved in an engineering club where I was working on a project to send bacteria to space. So we were pretty technical there. We had like mechanical engineers and computer scientists and bioengineers all working together in a club for this project. We have professional sororities and fraternities. So you can get involved in like the engineering frat or the pre-law or pre-med frat. And also you can get involved in things like consulting. We have a couple consulting clubs where companies will come to Berkeley and ask these clubs to do like case studies for them, like market research or do various surveys. where you can get some work experience, kind of like that.
Thank you so much for answering that question. I think that really provided a good overview of what you can get involved in at Berkeley. I have one last question for the both of you, and that is, what is your Berkeley story? What made you choose Berkeley, and what has led you to stay and enjoy all that Berkeley has to offer? Mikayla, can you tell us your Berkeley story first?
For sure. So I have to preface this by saying that I'm a very impulsive person. So I actually, like, my Berkeley story starts a little bit off campus, but because I'm very impulsive, I got accepted off the wait list, and immediately I was like, of course I'm going. Like, it's #1 public university. Like, why not? They have great academics and there's a lot to do there, and it's not like in Southern California, so we'll just give it a shot. And I accepted without thinking. But immediately after that, I started having a bunch of fears like, what if I don't fit in? What if I can't keep up with the academics because I was off the wait list? A lot of those, like that feeling of imposter syndrome and not worrying that I wasn't gonna do well here. But as cheesy as it sounds, I feel like when I actually got on campus, all of my fears kind of just melted away because I joined the fall program for freshmen. So I was actually in a very tight-knit community and we took a lot of classes together as like a very small, intimate cohort of people. And I think that really prepped me for like the main campus experience where things were a lot bigger. And actually, I made some really, really close friends through that program that I still take classes with to this day. So that's so awesome to see that we're all kind of still connected, even though we're also online. I also made a lot of friends through just joining different clubs and organizations, through my roommate who I met randomly and just all worked out. So that's so awesome to see as well. And through all of this, I really learned that academic success is by no means linear. Like everyone is just figuring out what they want to do and just finding something that they're passionate about and what they just want to pursue in the future. So it just taught me that like I don't really have to worry about how I compare myself to others. And it just made me so much like happier at Berkeley. And I think that I'm just really just cruising and vibing here. And even though my Berkeley story is currently set at home, I'm really excited to be back on campus so soon.
That's awesome. I really love your Berkeley story, Mikayla. For me, Berkeley was always like my secret dream school when I was in high school because it had everything that I wanted. It was far enough away from my home in Southern California, but not too far. It was in-state. It's really good for my major, bioengineering, and it had a lot of school spirit. So I was super excited about Berkeley, but I was really intimidated by its reputation and I didn't think that I could get in. So instead, I convinced myself and everyone else around me that I actually wanted to go to a different school. So all throughout high school, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to this different school, it'll be fine. But whenever I was like picking classes or seeing what kind of tests I needed to take, I'd always Google what Berkeley wanted, just in case. So I applied to Berkeley and a couple other schools and everything was fine. And then I got accepted, but I got accepted on a different day than the normal day. So I thought that someone was like playing with my heartstrings, telling me I got in to steal my credit card information or something like that. But it turned out to be real and I was super excited. But then I had to pick, do I go to Berkeley or do I go to this other school that I had thought I was going to go to for my whole high school career? And the deciding factor for me ended up being when I came to campus as a prospective student for an overnight program. And my host was so passionate about what she was doing and so excited to be at Berkeley. She talked my ear off about her major for like 30 minutes while wearing a pair of socks that had our mascot on it that came all the way up to her knees. And I was like, wow, this is where I want to be. I want to be surrounded by students like this. I want to be a student like this when I was in college. So that night I put a Berkeley hoodie in my Amazon shopping cart, which basically was the same thing as committing. And I was decided from then on out. And since coming to Berkeley, I've really found that my host for that overnight program was representative of the community here. And I've had a great time at Berkeley being involved in school spirit and academics, and I haven't regretted it for a second.
I love both of your Berkeley stories. Those are so great, so inspiring. I love to hear it. Unfortunately, this is the end of our tour here today, so I will leave you with a couple of resources before we go. You can check out our UVisit tour, which is kind of like a Google Maps 360-degree view where you can click on buildings and also hear our chancellor speak. You can follow us on Instagram at Visit UC Berkeley to see more of what we're up to. If you have any more questions, you can email tour@berkeley.edu, and an ambassador just like one of us will answer your questions. You can head over to the Bear Talk blog to read some more Berkeley stories like the ones Mikayla and Sara just shared with us today. Recorded virtual visits are available on our YouTube channel at Visit UC Berkeley, so you can head over there and get even more information. You can check out what we're doing to celebrate 150 years of women being accepted to our campus at 150w.berkeley.edu. The admissions presentation is located at admissions.berkeley.edu/visit. So if you're looking for that side of things is right there. And finally, you can check out more ambassador student panels and engineering visits at the same place you registered for this one. That's visit.berkeley.edu. I want to say a great big thank you for attending our tour here today. I hope you learned a lot about UC Berkeley. And I'd like to leave you off with a big Go Bears, because traditions, you just have to say it. So if Mikayla and Sara want to join me in a Go Bears on 3, 1, 2, 3, Go Bears!
Go Bears!
Have a great day.